Director of Football. I've really enjoyed working with each and every one of y'all, and I look forward to doing that again this year. If there's ever anything that you need, don't hesitate to call me. A lot of you know that you can call my cell phone anytime, whether it's evening, weekend, shoot me a text. I'm happy to answer and help you out as many as possible. As we get going here, the first section of the rules clinic will be NMAA information. We'll go over some of the new bylaws for the year and just some important reminders and information to get you going since everything starts next week. At the end of this presentation, we'll go over the NFHS football rules changes for the year. We have two officials, Paul Sandoval and Donnie Sanchez, representing the NMOA, who will go over those rule changes and ask or answer any questions you may have regarding rule interpretations. I know we have the North-South game tonight, so we'll try and get you out of here a little bit earlier if possible. With that, feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation, but if you'd rather wait and call me after the fact, you're more than welcome to do that as well. All right, to get going, just some important dates to remind you all of. Of course, the first official day of practice is Monday, August 3rd, next week. Based on the new practice regulations, the first full day of pads are allowed on Friday, August 7th. And then the first regular season contest can start August 24th through August 29th. All of the information for your school, the roster, schedule, etc., please put that in match preps by September 15th. If you do not do so, you are subject to fines from our office, so please try and get that updated information on there as soon as possible. The bracket release dates for each classification, again, these bracket releases will still occur on Saturday evening. For 6-man, that'll be October 24th. For 8-man, that's October 31st, and that's actually the same for Class 2A as well. And then for 3A through 6A, the brackets will be released on November 7th. Championships for 6-man and 2A on November 14th. For 8-man on November 21st. And for 3A through 6A on December 5th. Championship information reminders. The official ball is still the Wilson GST. That ball must be used for all state playoff games. And something that I started putting in here a couple years ago, we did get a lot of questions on the tiebreakers that should be used within your district for placement at the end of the district season. Really the confusion seems to be if there are more than 2 teams tied for district placement. So I'll just go over that really quick. It is NMAA bylaw 7.15.3 if you want to go to our handbook and check out the whole bylaw. But if 3 teams are tied for first place in your district and they've all beat each other, so they're all 1-1 amongst the tied teams, what we use is a point spread to determine placement. The point spread is based on a plus or minus 13. So if you beat the team by 21, it's capped at 13. Of course, if you win that game, you get a plus 13. If you lose that game, you get a minus 13. The way the point spread works is you use both of those games, you determine what the plus minus is for your school, and then first, second, and third are determined by that point spread. Okay, so once you have the number 1 team, say they're a plus 13, they're first place, say you have a 0, they're second place, say you have a minus 13, they would be third place. So once you place that first place team, you don't go back to head-to-head. It's all based on that point spread to determine the tiebreaker. And it's been a request from the Sports Specific Committee in the past that I send this out a couple times throughout the year, so I'll make sure I clarify it again as the postseason comes. To quickly go over the playoff formats for this year, nothing's changed from 2014. For Class 3A through 6A, the district champ automatically qualifies. The top 4 seeds will automatically advance to the quarterfinals, so you get that bye still. All the other selections will be at-large selections based on the seeding and selection criteria. That means that for 3A, 5A, and 6A, there's 7 at-large teams, and for Class 4A, there's 8 at-large teams. And the host sites will be determined by the higher seed for the first round and quarterfinals, and then in the semifinals and finals based on past history. And there are some changes to that, which I'll go over here in a second. For Class 2A, only 4 teams advance to the state championships, the district champions, and then 2 at-large selections. For the semifinal game, the host site will be the higher seed, and then in the finals, we use past history. In 8-man, it is still an 8-team format, and the quarterfinal round will be the higher seed hosts, semis and finals using past history. 4 district champions will automatically qualify and 4 at-large selections. And then finally for 6-man, they will still have 6 teams. And the difference here is the district champion and the runner-up will automatically qualify for the playoffs, and then 2 at-large selections to fill that bracket. Same thing, the host side will be the higher seed in the quarterfinals and in the semis because those top seeds are receiving a bye, and then in the final based on past history. Seeding and selection. There was one minor change to the seeding and selection criteria for 2015. Again, I have those criteria points on the screen, but I'll go over them really quick. There are 6 of them. It's finish in regular season district play, head-to-head competition, wins against district champions regardless of class, overall records, match preps rankings, and member school input. So those are the same from last year. The only difference is last year there was a tie in criteria points. If we were matching up 2 schools in our seeding meeting and say it was 2-2 on those criteria points, we would use max preps to break that tie, and the team that had the better max preps rating would get the higher seed. What we changed for this year is if you have head-to-head competition with the school and you happen to be tied in criteria, we're going to use that head-to-head competition to break the tie first. And if there is no head-to-head, then we'll go ahead and use max preps from there. And again, just a reminder, this was the case last year and it will be the case again this year. The first round matchups or your quarterfinal matchups, depending upon what classification, you can be matched up against the district opponent. Officials for the state playoffs, it will be the exact same as the last few years. They'll be assigned by the NMAA using the input from our evaluators, from our regional assigners, and from coaches' feedback. And for those of you that are part of the general meeting this morning, one thing I really want to stress again is for you coaches to go to the arbiter and provide feedback on the officiating crews. That is such a valuable tool for us, not only to pass on to the leaders to hopefully make those officials better, but also for us in selecting officials for the state tournament. Of course, we get a lot of negative feedback from coaches when it comes to officials, but when we get the positive feedback, that helps us even more. Then we know those are the guys that are doing what they're supposed to be doing throughout the year, and we're gonna make sure that those officials are rewarded and selected for numerous games in the state playoffs. So please, I urge you guys to go into the arbiter, make sure you give your feedback on those crews, and we will definitely use that for the state playoffs when we're selecting those officiating crews. With the state playoffs, we do still honor the regular season exclusions. And then as far as the officials that are eligible for state playoffs, they have to be approved or certified through the NMOA process. And for the final games, it must be a certified level. And for all of those matchups in the playoffs, we're going to assign those based on region. We try to keep it, if there's a Southwest and a Southeast team playing, we're going to try and use a crew from outside those 2 regions, and that will of course continue this year. And the only other thing would be that an official couldn't work the same school back-to-back weeks. Next, to go over some of the bylaw changes that will affect the state playoffs. The first of which, and just so you all know, all of these came from the Sports Specific Committee. I did survey the coaches with each of these items as well, and received probably about 60% participation from you guys with those surveys, so I do appreciate the input. The first one is the date and time of championships. So this would be for finals only. For championship games in all classifications, those must be played on Saturday at 1 or 2 p.m. unless it is mutually agreed upon by the 2 schools to play on Friday night. Okay, so those games have to be on Saturday unless the schools agree to play on Friday night. The next one is the definition of past history. As you guys probably know or remember, past history used to be defined as any playoff game between 2 schools dating back to 1953. Now past history is only any semifinal or final round playoff game between 2 schools dating back to 1953. So just to throw 2 random schools out there, if Artesia and Belen played in the quarterfinals last year and then were matched up in the finals this year, that quarterfinal matchup would have nothing to do with past history. Okay, we can go back even farther to see if those 2 schools happen to match up in the semis or finals, and we would use that to determine the whole site based on past history. I know that one's pretty confusing. Does anyone have any questions on that before I move forward? I'll save the questions for November. And then the last one, when there is no past history between two schools, we usually use a coin flip to determine who would host. That in a sense can change to, if there is no past history, the higher seed will host. Okay, so no coin flips anymore. It'll just be strictly based on that higher seed if we have no past history. And now to go over a few points of emphasis. First of which, practice regulations. As you know, we implemented these last year. There was an ad hoc committee put together. A lot of you in this room were on it. That committee came up with a pretty good policy that we think went really well last year. They hear a whole lot of negativity about it. But just to go over it again, the committee met and did feel that it worked well. We didn't need to make any changes. So we'll stick with that same policy for this year. Just to go over it, next week when you guys start off, the first 2 days are with helmets only. The next 2 days with helmets and shoulder pads only. And then the last 2 days, you can have full pads and full contact. The only thing is you have to have a maximum of 30 minutes per player per day of full contact. Just real quick to go over the definitions of full contact. They're football drills or live game simulations where live action occurs. Live action being contact at game speed where players execute full tackles at a competitive pace, taking players to the ground. For weeks 2 and 3, that is extended, the contact time is extended to 120 minutes, but still with a maximum of 30 minutes per player per day of full contact. And then you can have 1 intra-squad or 1 scrimmage during those weeks 2 and 3. Just remember, the one thing to consider there is before you participate in a contest, you have to have 10 days of practice before your kids can participate in a game setting. And then week 4 through the end of the season, that's dropped down to 90 minutes of full contact per week, and that is again a maximum of 30 minutes per player per day.
Now, can we go back just for 1 second?
Yes.
Where it says plus 1 inter-squad or scrimmage, what are we defining as an inter-squad?
That would be an inter-squad amongst your own players, but going full contact game like I said. And the reason I put 4 in there, from what I understand, most of you guys are having an inter-squad week 2. There are some schools out there, however, that are actually playing a scrimmage in week 2. So it is, you could do that scrimmage in week 2 or the inter-squad in week 2.
You can only have one if you have an inter-squad week 2 and a scrimmage week 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now on to the new competition period rule, and this is a new bylaw. Again, that same committee that put together the practice regulations actually came up with this regulation as well. The previous competition period bylaw was 48 minutes per week that a student could participate in. There were a lot of questions on that, how you track it, what exactly does that mean? Kids could be possibly playing in 3 games in a week and accumulating those 48 minutes. So we did revise that policy. This is something that we're going to give it a try, and again, we don't know if it's going to work for New Mexico, but we do feel that it's a step in the right direction, and the sports specific committee, and we'll keep evaluating that moving forward. But the new bylaw is that a student shall not accumulate more than 8 football experiences within a 5-day period. And then a football experience is defined as follows: participating in more than 1 play on offense during a quarter, or participating in more than 1 play on defense during a quarter. And the note there is that special teams plays do not count towards those football experiences or towards those participation limits at all. So just to try and clarify a little, I know this is a little bit confusing as well. If you have a player that goes both ways, offense and defense, and he's playing multiple plays per quarter, he's going to eat up those 8 football experiences in 1 game. Okay? If you have a floater between JV and varsity, maybe he just plays offense on JV, defense on varsity, but he's playing multiple plays per quarter, he's going to end up with 4 football experiences in that JV game, 4 football experiences in that varsity game, and he's within the 8 football experiences goal. Any questions on that?
there a definition for 5 day period, Monday through Friday, Saturday, any consecutive 5 days?
Any consecutive 5 days.
Basically, if you want to put like a blanket over it, offense JV, defense varsity, it's just fine. But just start always up.
Yeah, exactly. And I know there's going to be questions on this throughout the season. Like I said, don't hesitate to call me after the fact if you want to clarify that. A few more reminders as we get going next week. Heat illness prevention protocol. The athletic trainer or head coach must check heat index prior to the start of the practices. If the heat index is over 104, you have to cancel that practice or that workout. If it's between 100 and 104, you need to modify or shorten it. If it's 95 to 99, you proceed, but with caution. And then if it's under 95, just obviously stay aware of the situation and keep an eye on it. Another part of the protocol is to have frequent water breaks and a cold water immersion tank on site. And we have a lot more information on our website at the bottom of the homepage. If you want to check that out, we also have a heat index calculator available through that link as well. Physicals and proof of insurance for all of your student athletes. They do have to have those before participating. Those physicals have to be up to date as of April 1st, 2015. And obviously the proof of insurance on file as well. Concussion requirements. So that of course is a hot topic in the sport of football, but this is a state law that's mandated for all coaches in all sports. You do have to take the NFHS concussion course on a yearly basis in order to go out there and coach your kids. Note that course has finally been updated. I know you guys have probably taken it time and time again, and it's been the same material over and over for the last few years, but it is updated, so you will have some fresh new information when you go through it this year if you haven't already. Coach's licensure. As we get going, make sure that all of your coaches, whether they're paid or volunteer, they must have a coaching license, and that's per state law again. That has to be done through the New Mexico Public Education Department. And next, to go over the mercy rule. We did have a change to the mercy rule, a slight change. As you guys know, last year we did take a proposal to our commission and board to eliminate the 50-point termination rule. That was beat down by our board of directors pretty hard. The sports specific committee came up with a new proposal that they felt would hopefully lengthen games, but still keep that 50-point termination rule in place. That way it kind of appeased our board of directors. And the new rule that will go into effect, and this is for 8-man through 6A only. The new rule that will go into effect is that running clock, when you get to 35 points or more, that running clock will start at any point during the game. It used to start at halftime or beyond, but now if that happens in the first quarter, we'll start the running clock in the first quarter. If it happens in the second quarter, same thing. So any point during the game you get up, I think 35 points, we're going to start that running clock. And then the 50-point termination rule is still in effect. We'll start at halftime or at any point during the second half. And the only note on this is that for 6-man, there is no change from last year. The running clock will start at halftime or at any point in the second half, and then the 50-point termination rule, same thing, at halftime or at any point in the second half. And this does apply to all levels of football, sub-varsity, and middle school as well. And lastly, just a side note, we always get questions on this. If a team scores a touchdown that puts them up by more than 50 points, you do not need to attempt the extra point. And just a quick reminder about out-of-season coaching during the school year. To be honest, we usually don't have too many problems with football coaches, so I appreciate you guys in this area. But just a reminder that you're allowed 7.5 hours of total contact time per week, and that's only when school is in session. So if it's a Saturday or a holiday, you cannot have any contact with your kids. The only thing that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention is that we did make some updates to our Q&A section of the out-of-season coaching rule, which is found in bylaw 7.4 of our handbook. If you have questions on that, feel free to contact me, but I would suggest reviewing those. We do try to clarify some things like fundraising, community service, camps, social events. So take a look at those Q&As because there's some things in there that aren't gonna count towards that contact time, whether it's community service projects or fundraising, things like that. We're not gonna hold you accountable for that $7.5 for certain events of that nature. And lastly, just a reminder of our Compete with Class Sportsmanship Initiative. We launched that last year in our office, and I know a lot of our schools and administrators feel like it was a huge success, and that's large in part because of our coaches. I think we had a great year in the sport of football. There were a few incidents here and there, but that's going to happen, and really I think what's sad nowadays, and you guys know, is that those negative incidents are what the media publicizes. But they don't publicize the good things that are happening out there, and there are a lot of good things, especially in the sport of football. I commend you guys. I had a lot of positive reports from officials throughout the fall season, from coaches, from administrators, and even from spectators from other schools as well. So I think obviously it starts at the top with the coaches and the adults, and we're doing positive things for the state of New Mexico. I think that really is filtering down and making to the kids and making sports and making football better for all of us. With that, I will take any questions on the NMA side of things at this time. Now to go over the NFHS football rule changes for the year, I'm going to ask Mr. Paul Sandoval of the New Mexico Officials Association and the Albuquerque Group to come up to the podium, and along with him is Donnie Sanchez, also of the Albuquerque Group.
Good gentlemen. Most of you seasoned guys know me. I've done this for Dusty and Data for the last few years. This year's kind of a nice, easy one because there's not a lot of changes. There are some things that we definitely need to discuss. So with that, I'll just jump right into it. Feel free at any time if you have a question, raise your hand. This is open forum. I know many of you were at our state clinic for officials a couple weekends ago. We did it in a sort of a board fashion where anyone was just, it was a group discussion as opposed to me just dictating what things are. I think everyone gets a lot more out of it that way. This is for you guys, let you guys understand the rules. It's hard for us to explain the rules when we're standing between those five lines. Sometimes it's communication is so difficult. So we get it all clear here with me around the way. Again, this just says that New Mexico chooses to use NFHS rules as opposed to NCAA. Some of the rules every year. Big change this year. This is really just a definition of what spearing is. We all know what spearing is forever, but this specifies the crown of the helmet contacting a player below the shoulders or head. Okay, so as you know, in the last couple of years, we've had all these changes, and targeting is contact at the shoulders or above with any body part, right? So this specifically takes spearing out of that definition, not to confuse the two. So must be the crown of the helmet initiating the contact, and the contact must be at or below the shoulders. Again, he's using the top of his head to drive through. We're talking on this on the points of emphasis as far as that comes up. Directing it down in the pass after they're ready for play, if it was stiff down, it's stiff down. Okay? Now we have an opportunity to stop the game even after they're ready for play. So the officials get together, we can realize our mistake, or the coach obviously has the opportunity to take a timeout for a correctable error. We can fix it down if we're 100% confident as well. So that's the issue. Any questions on that? That was kind of, I've been reading some different stuff online about it. There's a lot of confusion on our side of things, just because of the way it's worded, but it is just adding that back in. My mistake is I did college ball for 10 years, so that really screws them up when getting this technical stuff. Just remember, if you think it's wrong, raise the question. Most of the changes this year are going to be on the free kick formations. The biggest change is, well, of course, you have to have 4 on each side of the kicker, special rules for 8 men, obviously a 6 man. The change this year is that the foul doesn't occur until the ball is kicked. Okay? So you have, the way I see it, you have time to correct the formation. Once the ball's kicked, it's just like encroachment, so it's a dead ball, so we shut it down, flag it, shut it down, 5 yards, free kick. This is the new penalty this year, and this one I'm still trying to get clarification on, because this is showing a guy, obviously the fourth guy is on the wrong side. If he runs behind the kicker to get to the other side, he's encroached. But that doesn't make any sense as long as they haven't kicked the ball yet, right? So that's where my question is. I think they're meaning this, if he does that when he kicks the ball, if the encroachment, shut it down again. This year, I know some of the schools out there I've seen do this where the kicker, the official has the kicker of the ball, kicker puts it on the tee, backs up 7 yards because it's hand up. And then this other guy next to him is the one that actually kicks the ball for us and knocks it onside. Okay? It's kind of nice little trick when this rule first came out, but now it's illegal. Okay? Only the guy that kicks the ball can be more than 5 yards back, whether it's a trick kick or not. Okay? So this shows the kicker obviously 6 yards back, and the up guy kicks it. So that's a foul again at the kick, and again it's a dead ball. We're not going to let any of those plays go forward. So to correct that, you just got to move the kicker up inside the 5 yards. Okay? So even though he declares as the kicker, and he gets the ball, and he sets it on the tee, as long as he's within the 5 yards, he doesn't have to be the one that kicks it. That's the change. Okay? Clear with that? Illegal personal contact, of course, this stuff's getting looked at every year more and more. The big takeaway here is they added a defenseless player to the definition. That's really the only change to it. The foul itself hasn't changed. We all know who defenseless players are. There's a couple other slides coming up that show that. But roughing the passer, they kind of tweaked this one a little bit. I guess across the country there was some confusion if you had a incidental face mask on a passer. Technically it was a foul against the passer, so some places would either that or roughing or automatic first down, which would not be the case. And it's just further clarified this year. It's pretty tough to have that foul. I haven't called a 5-yard face mask in 10 years, so you know, if it's got to be big, that's what we're looking for. So it's almost always a big one. We're obviously looking for safety of the kids at all times. So again, this is a change. Dead ball penalty enforcement is probably the next biggest change. Really take some time to read up on this one in your rule books. But as you know, in your rule books, all the changes are in the gray compared to last year's one. How many guys use your casebook? No. You guys use your casebook is the best place to explain stuff, but I'm not a real technical guy. I can read the rule and read what it says. But then when I want to apply it to a game, I'm using casebook because that's a point screwy stuff, and sometimes it helps clarify things. So, in this particular example, the tackle false starts, okay, but when he false starts, then this defensive end goes and doesn't look good at the pick, but it's a personal foul against that guy. You've seen that play where the guy moves, everyone knows it's a false start, and the defender just smashes it easy. Can't, yes, easy. Okay. So this hasn't changed because it's not personal fouls. It's not dead ball personal fouls. Even though the false starts a dead ball foul, they're not canceling each other. What happens now is if you have, say 8, obviously clear and white, their fouls on late, and so he fouls 8 coaches and half about it, so 8 less that referee know all about it. To the point where obviously stepped over the line to do a flag. Okay, both of those fouls now will offset. And you obviously do the next fly ball. So instead of doing the old 15 yards this way and 15 yards back and ending up at the same place, you just offset. They're still recorded, it's still UC on the coach, but the distance isn't marked off. This play comes into particular importance once you get inside the red zone. When B is the first to foul, normally in the past it would be half the distance to the 15. Remember that one? Where the coach is like, I don't understand how many yards we're cheating. Now you don't. So snap the 18, or end of the play was the 18, you have a B foul, A, and an A foul is D, where you're going to be next down at the 18. You're not going to stop. That's the big change. So part of this change is you have to have equal number of fouls. So here you have a cheap shot, or what they call it, cheap shot, or late shot, obviously out of bounds, so you have a dead ball, personal foul. And two guys in line didn't appreciate it, so they threw some words at him that, kids mess up with that. Judge Chavez as well. Anyway, so you would offset the personal foul, and then you would offset that with one of the fouls, not eight. You would still enforce whatever's left over. So if you don't have the equal number of fouls, you cancel them out to run out, and then you enforce whatever's left. Right? In the order of occurrence, remember that, that's what we're going to do. Contentious thing. So here's one that's kind of separated, even though I scratched my head on this one. So you have the same foul, you have the dead ball, personal foul. This foul occurs that both teams are wrapping up the foul. The officials enforce the foul, mark it off, whatever, and after that point, the coach uses his line and decides he wants to see yellow ring again. So he gets flagged after that yardage is marked off. That's a new foul. That's a whole new thing. So that one will get enforced also separate from this because we have already gone past the enforcement of the last foul. Even though it occurred before the next regular play, which is easily way to explain this. Any questions on that? I'm sure we'll screw it up. We'll screw it up. So. The editorial changes, this is for all the lawyers in the house. They changed the definition of targeting to be, okay, just like I was describing earlier, contact against an opponent above the shoulders, under the floor, and against the other shoulders. Clear, more clearly define what targeting is, as opposed to spearing. That was the point of this change. Again, you guys can read through all this stuff. This is just, the editorial changes is where they fix all the verbiage and the work for what we just went through. Nothing too crazy out there. Any questions on that stuff? I guess for you six-player coaches out there, there are some clarifications on the tweaking formation because it's running the technical on your side. So there's nothing to do with that. I don't have it slot in there. I'm not sure. Again, that was the easy part of points of emphasis. There's 2 points of emphasis this year. Every year is going to be risk minimization. It's always a facilitating of football rules. So I'll try to get through this a little quicker. This kind of one part. I want to do something. Obviously, relevant football is one sport. Some teams try to score against other teams. Hopefully, you guys, that's your job to do that. One thing is for you coaches, especially, to get all those cheap shots and that kind of stuff out of the way. I've always explained this. I've been teaching the future vets for several years now. One of the things that I always cover with them, the way things are written, is why the rules are written the way the rules are written. And high school rules are always written for safety, and they're always going to be written for safety because it's a bunch of kids playing together. I'm pretty rough with it. Okay? So you have a lot of rules in high school that don't apply to NFL or NCAA. And because it's a bunch of kids playing a game, you have to keep it safe. If the NCAA, all 22 kids on that field are athletes, right? All 22 of them are really good players. That's why they're playing at the next level. So if you look at NCAA rules, the rules are really written around athletes, okay? They know these kids can take it, maybe they can go ahead and defend a block or a race, that sort of thing. You get to the NFL level, you look at their rules, unfortunately, you see the news now, and all that stuff coming out, you don't seem to bench. But the NFL rules are about the show, and at the end of the day, it's about what you can do. this stuff at the high school level, we need rules. And it's really, as much as officials can affect that during live play, we can't affect that day in, day out of practice, you know. And we always have that kid, that other kid, maybe he's a little bigger, stronger than the other guys, that's the smash guys, and it's internally we guys that have automatic practices, so we don't see it in the kids. It's all of our job, your job, our job to kind of control all that stuff. Another thing, and I don't know how we do this, but spectators need to be taught as well, but that's not part of the high school tradition. I don't know how to do that. I do what I'm trying to write, but I need to do. I need to do what I'm trying to write if I'm trying to make a kid a gay safe. I don't do it. Stands, but here's some really funny comments. Just kind of shoot your head up. So, whatever you guys can do to educate your parents and their kids as well about this whole cheap shot, the laptops, all that kind of thing. It's probably be a positive thing for the world. There's talk in the news. I've heard some of the stories where people want football out of high school. You know, I don't know what to do myself. So it's kind of on all of us to make that happen. So we're going to talk just a minute here about excessive force. Anything that is excessive and unnecessary, we teach at the high school level. It's 15 hours all day, and you have to get that out of here. One of the things that seems to, and I think this is more old school coaching, but it's always been taught to play to a whistle. And I caught a little beat last year when I talked about this point a little bit, that last year, I get the reminders of the rules for last year's show, I'll clarify that again. Any football play, the play ends the play. The whistle doesn't end the play. And I was telling a funny story at State Clinic that I was a side judge in college, and you know, these guys are pumping the ball. Well, it's in the RMAX, so it's a lot of parts. And these guys are pumping the ball, 60, 80 yards sometimes, and the ball would fly almost sideways out of bounds into the stands. And you know, I got one guy running down trying to block, and there's another guy on the other side, and there's a receiver, and there's five guys, and they all know the ball's gone. They all know there's nothing going on. So those plays all the time around, I don't know. There was games where I could go, I could probably blow my whistle less than 5 times in a game football game as a side player. Obviously, the line guys got a lot more to do. And I thought about it. And so one day, Van Rivera, some evil man, kind of got on their ass, and he goes, "God, you got to blow a whistle on this out of bounds pass." We're like, "Why?" Because I didn't know when the ball's out of bounds, they're still knocking each other's heads around. I never really thought about that as a true concept. The crew needs to shut the play down. That being said, we have certain criteria that we have to see when we shut the play down. If it's starting to go at the 3, and I'm a line judge or a linesman, I'm not going to blow out this until I see the ball. Okay. A lot of times it's a big pile in there, and the chance of an injury is fairly low, but nothing worse than blowing a whistle and the safety picking up the ball and moving it and running like that. You know, we don't want that play either. So we have times that we're deliberately slow on our whistle. For that very reason, we have to make sure that the player's down and on line. We have to be confident that that player's down. So sometimes there are some slow whistles. There's some officials that are slower than others. And through our evaluation process, if we see a guy that's notoriously slow, then we can educate for that. Okay? And we can teach them to pick up the view as well. So just get it out of their head, the crystal points the floor. The other situation is when the wind is slowed. Anytime a runner is almost getting tackled by a little kid who's trying to go, and does his progress stop, does it not stop, and he's sitting there very exposed, you can't just destroy that guy. I mean, by the rule, it's a hard thing where the referee want to make sure he's down. Excuse me. One of the things that we officiate to when it comes to that scenario is that, if it's one-on-one, if it's a one defender trying to attack a runner in the open field, we're gonna let that go a lot longer than if there's 2 or more defenders with this guy, even though he's not down. Okay? So what we're looking at is 2 or 3 guys dragging this guy, and this other guy just comes and cleans him off the top. That's excessive. No need for that. Okay? We give them an opportunity one-on-one to break free. Right? That's nothing worse than breaking free right at the whistle when you guys going out. So it's tough that we have to work on it. We'll be aware of that when we're looking for it. So that being said, let's talk about a little bit of a couple of examples of what's wrong, even though I explained it to you. One of the first things we ask ourselves in our head is, does the player have a legitimate chance to make the play? Most of these scenarios will assume that he does. He does have an opportunity to make the play. Does he get blindsided? Okay, so does he have an opportunity to block or tackle the runner, and this guy blindsides him? For the point of argument of the situation, all these hits are legal. Or to the point of legal that they're not knowing ways to fix or other fouls like that. Was the contact unnecessary or excessive? Yes. That's a foul. Okay, all day. Even though he's in the play, and it was a clean shot, because it wasn't in his back, and it wasn't spearing, and it wasn't targeting, but it was excessive to the point that the official's mind pulled the trigger and call that excessive play. Let us take the same scenario where in the official's mind it wasn't an excessive blow. Okay, maybe it was just a great block, and we've seen those. That's shit. I love seeing those on fire. I see that just a great block sets it free, and most of the time, I would say all the time, this is a great block. This is a touchdown. So it was a clean hit and it was a hard hit, but it was not unnecessarily rough or excessive, but it's not a foul. Okay. Conversely, the guy's still in the play. It wasn't a blindside shot, and it wasn't unnecessary. So it just blew him up, which is 99% of the cases. He just kind of makes it pretty wild. That's not a foul. So let's take this player, and now he's out of this play. Okay, he has no chance to make the play, whatever he's doing. Does he receive a blindside block? Yes or no? It doesn't even matter. Okay. Was it unnecessary or excessive? Yes or no? It doesn't even matter. Because if the kid's out of the play, you got no business blowing him up. Okay. And those are the ones that we're going to flag all day long. I know a lot of y'all coaches know that as a referee, his kids go in with like a 10, 5-yard line and touchdown, and I have to flag back at the 30 or 40, and that's happened more than once. Because I really try to protect those kids that aren't playing anymore. And catch sweet for it, but I will do that. So, we're taught to do sound judgment in that, and we look at a lot of game film and we discuss that. As referees, we want to get it right. We don't want to shoot the team leverage. We just want to keep safe for the play. So, any questions on that? So, two things to talk about: facilitating the NFHS rules. Obviously, the number one thing is minimize risk to players as safe as we can make it. We want to make it as a rough game, and we understand that. Preserve the sound traditions of the sport are important. Standardizing competition is important. Facilitate the decision-making process of officials, so try to make it, for us, not to have to make it as easy to follow as we can. Permit common records, a lot of that talk about how the rules are put together. Provide for evaluating competition, which goes through max preps, the rankings, and all that kind of stuff. And to maintain a balance between offense and defense. And the reason I'm doing that is one of the things that they brought up in the points of emphasis is the free blocking zone. Not even going on this hard, so everyone knows free blocking zone. There's always talk about taking the block load away side of the game. And I completely agree after watching some of these college kids take basketball away side of the field, but it doesn't belong in high school. I completely understand that, but at the same time, inside the free blocking zone, we still have cases where a block over the waist is legal, flip is legal, if you're on offense. I think that's a good part of the game that leads back to some of these things about keeping competition fair. I remember seeing a game here, this is several years back, where the one team was clearly undersized to the other team. I would say they went from 40 to 80 pounds a man on the line. And so this particular coach decided that he was going to pass all the line, he was going to cut all the line. Our guys were cutting the defenders. The other coach I wasn't on the game, but the other coach was screaming hard. And a friend of mine actually called me later and discussed it. Whereas the offensive team at the snap, they would all stand up to go to the pass block, and they would all cut. It was illegal. Just remember that if you're block below the waist, it's got to be a one-on-one block. It's got to be immediately at the snap, and the ball still has to be in the zone. So here, the way we officiate that, because there's so many spread offenses, shotgun quarterback, pistol quarterbacks, the only time that there could be any delay at all, and we don't even teach officials this way, is if the quarterback's under center. So if the quarterback's in pistol or shotgun, as soon as that ball's set, the ball's out of the zone. Right? So pre-block is on the center. Right? So the way we officiate that is we're looking for initial charge. There can be no delay in the block. It's got to be initial charge of the snap to be able to block. Now remember, you can block above the waist and slide down as long as you don't lose contact. That block is still legal as well. Okay? So the NFHS rules committee really wants to keep that in the game because of that reason, to keep it competitive certainly.
So even out on the perimeter, you've got receiver blocking in the corner, out on the edge, he initiates contact up top, is engaged, slides down, cuts him. That's it.
As long as there was no disengagement, so you can't block and then you lose it every time again. Yeah, and that was pretty gross, it's just more than it should. Again, we consider the zone tackle unless you're tight. Usually don't let tight end get away with that. And the reason being is that outside of the defensive end is usually inside that gap. It's kind of almost right inside the block. And again, it's got to be one-on-one. But there's no highlights over there. I remember when I ended in college,
Same thing stands for defensive side of the ball too, right?
That is correct. That is correct. The defense is going to cut a line, he must do it immediately with the snap. And he's got to be in that zone, so
Then the ball's got to be.
the ball's got to be in the zone. So it's very difficult for the defense to cut. The one that I see, I think the one that we miss the most is the protecting the running back, protecting the quarterback on that blitzing linebacker. I miss it. I've seen it happen in the play go and a couple plays later.
The big confusion for us was under center versus shotgun. And when the ball is left the zone, moved in a different situation, and it's interpreted by different crews differently. When we're a shotgun team, snap the ball, our initial charge was cut, and we get called because the ball was out of the zone. So basically, they were saying that you could only cut if you're under center.
We're having a lot of discussion. Obviously, we're down in numbers. I don't know how many numbers we're down in the state level. So something that's happening to that point is you guys might see mixed crews. You guys might get 3 guys from Fotis and 2 guys from Albuquerque on the game, just because we need guys. So to that end, we had a big discussion about having a state and Canada spots. At the state clinic, maybe taking a couple hours on the field to somewhere, and just going through exactly that stuff. And that's my last time to go through there, so get into our agenda and talk about that. So our whole thing, and you guys know as well as I do, the mechanics from the Santa Fe guys, to the Albuquerque guys, to the Cruises guys, we all do things different. And one of the arguments I had with Lena when it came to evaluating officials is like, well, you got officials that are doing proper mechanics. So why should we be so to that end, we really are working on making all five regions doing things the same way, right, with the same mindset. To the targeting power, to the local power, all that stuff. We're trying to do it all. So hopefully in the next year or so, you'll see what we do. I would highly recommend a little note on that to the auditor when we have that heard, just to sit down. I asked Lena, as a matter of fact, getting ready for this presentation, I'm glad she didn't send me more stuff. I'm glad it doesn't happen. I asked her to kind of, maybe give coaches feedback on what we're screwing up. Well, what we're doing there, just so I can tell my officials we did on this or on that. And there wasn't very much at all. So we really do appreciate, as much as we appreciate you guys critiquing us from the sideline, it's a lot easier to do it than a year off the table. We totally understand each other. So, any questions on that pre-blocking though? Why it's there, why it's still there? Okay, last thing I have was silent interference. It's always been a big thing for me because I wish I should have filmed some highlight film with me talking to the camera guy at the 5-yard line in Fort Lewis. My wife still asks me, she goes, look, you bounced off the ground. So yeah, it wasn't a film. But it's a big deal to us to keep those sidelines clear so we can do our job. Especially as these kids are a little bit faster. Some of us maybe a little older, I know you guys know Berkeley retired. Hold your applause, please. But when we're doing our job, we are never looking at the goal. And some of you are looking at the goal. It is a dangerous place between the 25-yard lines, the coaches in the lane. And every personality, every official, I'm ready to run. Think about it a little bit. I'm of the old school. If you get my way, I'm going to fight. You're in that boxing the coach, and who cares? I mean, you know the rule. It's very specific as to what it should be. If we call it the letter of the rule, some guys take it too far, some guys don't take it far enough. I've deemed officials on evaluations for not maintaining sideline control. And it's always, I've always thought, how do we get back to it? Once someone talks, it starts to become a problem, get on it early. I tell the officials, week one, let's get on these coaches. You guys are excited, it's the season. We understand. I understand that you got to use your time, but lose track of where you're at. So the whole point is keeping us officials safe and kids safe and you safe, right? If you see some of these officials, they're pretty good news. I don't know what they're doing. So just remember the first one's free. We'll try to talk to you, the second one's fine, the second one's going to see after that. It's a big deal to us, like I say, for our safety. We want to get to the after the season, meet race or something else like that. So it is a point of emphasis to us, so it will become a point of emphasis. Any questions on that? I'll go through the reminders of the Barbara, I don't know your kid's name. Thanks, Dave, I guess. Again, defenseless player. This is reminders of the little changes from last year. So they describe what the defenseless player was. Again, kid out of the play. It's not, anyone's own business. And again, I'm sure you as coaches hate to see that. What are we doing as officials? Kid not playing hard all the time. Again, if he's defenseless, leave him alone. Not just a kid out of the play. This kid's, 20 yards playing the ball. Punter, once he punts the ball, so he has time to gain his composure and actually go to perform some kind of a football move. So If he kicks the ball and just wants to stand there and not play, we let him stand there and not play. If he decides he needs to go make that tackle, we're going to free game. You know? We want the kid that's getting hit to know that he's playing football and he should be expecting it. I don't want some kid there, carry butterflies. That's the whole thing. And a pass receiver that has obviously given up as a tough catch the ball. Okay, not to be confused with the pass receiver that's diving catch it. You're getting a pass over the middle, and the guy lays out to get it, and the other guy's coming the other way. And as long as the contact is within the time limits of being that's not a pass. Okay, again, he's still playing football, even though he's diving there, he's still playing football. But if he's, pass over his head, he goes, that guy can't catch that. That one can be real touchy as to the timing of it, because I've seen it where, I don't think it was a championship, I think it was a semi-final. The bigger schools, when the kid jumped for it, and wasn't going to reach it, but as the ball passed his hands, it went moving back. Tackle was a lead tackle. He wasn't punishing. He was tackling the guy who not catch the ball. It might. And so, again, you're going to get those officials that see it from away, and the ones that go crazy on safety and see another. But he's clearly given up. He's defenseless by definition. Kick receiver, and rather than catch it, just destroy it as we probably see that's it. And the player laying on the ground, he's not knocked down or just can't drill that. There's a loose ball and you guys are jumping for the ball, they're scrambling, whatever, you jump around, yeah, that's football. That is, 99 here, I think it looks like he puts his shoulder in his back just to sign it up. Here's one outside out for progress stops. One-on-one, we kind of let that go a little bit. Has opportunity breakers. Two guys got him, they're probably going to be locked to shut that down. Either way, this guy just can't come in and destroy it just because he's hard. That's the exact thing we're trying to do. Again, if you don't like these rules, we'll change them. Any questions on anything I said? All right, thank you.
Guys, really quick, the NFHS football rule change proposal form will be sent out here in a couple months. These are just for rule changes through the NFHS. This isn't NMA stuff. This is the actual playing rules. So I'll send that out. If you have any suggestions, definitely send those in and we'll run those by the committee, and if the rules that the National Committee feels are good, they'll be changed. That football rules meeting is in January. Every state association is represented at that meeting. I will be in attendance. And one thing that Paul really hit the nail on the head on is with regards to NFHS rules or high school rules really being about safety. And I know when I'm up here talking about the new practice regulations or the competition period regulations, there's so many guys that are shaking their heads in the crowd. I totally understand that. The last thing I want to do is come up here and tell you about all these new rules and regulations. But I promise you for the better of the game. It is pretty scary when I attend those national meetings and hear some of the things that are going on in other states, or legislators threatening to put state mandates on state associations, or whether it's parents and lawsuits. And it's happening quite a bit out there. So when we're putting these things in place, when the NFHS is putting new rules in place, it really is to really save the game. Participation numbers are really down. They're not down really in New Mexico, but across the country in the sport of football at the youth level and at the high school level, they are down. So it's kind of scary right now, and I know that's what we're trying to do, is protect our kids and protect the game that we all love. And before I let you guys go, there are a couple binders that are moving around the room. Has everyone signed in? Does everyone receive those? Where are those binders at? Whoever has those, will bring them up to me, and then whoever hasn't signed them, just come up here and sign really quick, and then you're free to go. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
guys learn? That was that wide out.
You're watching ProView Networks. It's a great place to be seen.